everybody, this is Paige from Mosaic Moments, and today I'm going to be talking about what the layering dies are. I know a lot of you still have questions, or you still don't understand the difference between the basic and the layering dies, so I'm going to talk about that today and hopefully answer a lot of your questions. So the set I'm holding now is the basic bundle, and the basic bundle is the one you need to create Mosaic Moments pages. So you're going to get an insert that looks like this, and by looking at it, and it says it on the package, the squares or the shapes with the solid color are the ones that fit the grid paper measurements. It gives the measurements here and how many squares it covers. So you know the solid ones are the ones that fit the grid paper measurements, and then there's the ones with the dots, and these are your layering sizes. We do provide how many inches they are. You will notice that they are a little bit smaller than the dies that fit the measurements of the grid. So again, look at the ones that are dotted. These are the ones that are the layering dies. And we use the term layering because that means it's going to be layered. It's sized to be layered on top of the size that fits the grid paper. So that's what we mean by layering. So your layering dies are not going to fit the grid paper measurements. So when I look at So I have the insert here, and I also have the basic die bundle here, set A. It's the set with all squares. And when you first look at the dies, you may be confused on which ones are which. So I definitely recommend keeping the insert. And you can see this biggest one, since it's solid on the package, that's what fits the grid measurements. And that's the case with all the biggest ones and the smallest ones, and all of the sets. And the basic bundle, the biggest one, the smallest ones, fit the measurement of the grid paper, and then the dies, and then every other die also fits the grid. So the dies in between them are the layering sizes. So here I'm pointing out the layering die. Now it fits the grid because it has the solid one. Layering die with the dotted fits the grid. Layering die fits the grid. Layering die. And then of course the last one fits the grid paper. So this one that's colored is our China Basic Bundle. This also applies, what I just showed you also applies to the USA Silver Bundle. So if you look at them, a lot of people are confused about the two sets. They're both exactly the same. They have the exact same measurements. The difference is the China Bundle is colored and the USA Bundle is silver. The USA Bundle also costs more because it is made in America. We offer both sets because some people want a cheaper option, but some people, we know some customers who also want to support American companies, so that's why we offer both. And also something to keep in mind is the USA dies do have a better quality steel than the China bundle. They both cut the same, they both cut well. The USA bundle, it does have a better quality steel though, and that may be something to keep in mind if you're still trying to choose between which set to get. Alright, so this is the basic bundle. You absolutely needed to create Mosaic Moments layouts because it contains the dies that fit the measurements of the grid paper, and the grid paper is the foundation for all Mosaic Moments pages. Go check out the video on the top right corner there about the grid paper. Alright, next I'm talking about the layering dies. So there was the layering dies in the basic bundle. If you look at the package of the layering set, it's all dots, which lets you know that they are sized to layer on top of the dies that fit the grid. And if you compare the measurements, they are a little bit smaller. The layering sizes are smaller than the dies in the basic bundle. And you can see the basic bundle here has the bold blue, whereas the layering bundle has the pastel blue. The layering dies do also work with the Silver USA bundle because keep in mind they're the same measurements as the China bundle. So layering dies can work with either set. Doesn't matter if you have the USA or China basic dies. Alright, I'm just going to transfer the dies from the basic set. So that's including the dies that fit the grid paper and its layering dies. And you can see how they're all different sizes from the pastel layering set. I'm just showing this to show you that no, they do not have the same exact measurements in the sets. The layering set basically has dies that layer on top of the dies that fit the grid, and also have layering sizes that fit on the layering sizes from the basic bundle. So the layering dies is the layering bundle is optional, But basically what's nice about it is it gives you lots of options for layering your dies, which we're going to talk about a little bit. So as you can see, I took out the layering sizes from the basic bundle, and what's left on the right is the sizes that fit the grid paper and the pastel layering sizes. So I'll say again, if you are just getting started, the first thing to purchase is the Mosaic Moments die bundle. So either the colored china bundle or the USA silver bundle. Those will contain the dies that'll fit the measurements of the grid paper. The layering bundle, which is the pastel set, that is optional. You don't need the layering bundle in order to make Mosaic Moments pages. It's really just an option for making different sizes to layer on top of your paper mats that go on the grid paper. All right, so it can be kind of confusing to know which dies are which. So what I do is I look over here and I know I want to use a 3x3 square size. So I see which one is 3x3 squares. And from here I can see it's 1, 2, and 3 solid squares down. Or if you're looking at the dies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the 5th square in that set. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know it's this one here. Of course, sometimes you can also use a label maker and label which ones are which as well. That is also very helpful, but when you're just buying them, you may not. That's a good way to figure out which ones are which. All right, so I did cut the square with the die machine, and I'm just figuring out where to place it. So yes, it's important when you're using Mosaic Moments that you have this basic die bundle, because if you got the layering bundle, which some people do by accident, you're going to end up with squares that are too small to fit the grid. So make sure you have the right bundle. Get the basic die bundle, either the China colored bundle or the USA silver bundle. All right, so once you have your mats cut with cardstock or pattern paper of your choice, the next step is to cut your photographs with the layering dies. So there's a couple of options you can do here. If you have you should have the basic bundle, but maybe you only have the basic bundle. So we know the die that fit the grid paper was the 5th one down, so you just take the next one after that. So remember, the layering sizes are in between the ones that fit the grid paper. So this square die is the next one down. So that's one option. Again, that's the only option you have if you have the basic die bundle. But if you also have the layering die bundle, what you can do is grab the 3x3 square size from the basic bundle and put it in between the dies it can fit in, like I did there, and you can take the next one down. So it's the die and the pastel bundle, the layering bundle, it's the die that's just slightly smaller than the die that fit the grid paper measurements. So again, you can do that by taking the die from the basic bundle and putting it in your pastel bundle and just picking the one that's the next smallest down from that. All right, so I went ahead and cut both of these pictures with the die machine. Again, this is the layering die that's contained in the basic bundle, and I'm going to put it on top of my paper mat here, and you can see how it gives you a very wide mat behind your photograph. So that's what you can expect when using the layering dies from the basic bundle or the basic set with the bold color or the silver color if you have the USA one. The photo cut with the pastel die from the layering bundle I put on top, and it's going to crop your photo larger here. Sorry, my photo shifted there. But can you see the difference? The layering size in your basic bundle, again, is going to give you a wider mat, whereas the pastel dies from the layering bundle are going to give you a smaller mat. We really like the layering bundle because we prefer the smaller mat here. So, but again, if you have the basic bundle only, that's the size. The wider mat's the only option you have. So that's why many of our customers also like to get the layering bundle, because they want that other sizing as well. So I just want to say this again because there's a lot of confusion about the basic bundle. The basic bundle, of course, has your dies that fit the measurements of the grid paper to make your photo mat, right, with the paper. And it also does come with the layering sizes to cut your photographs a little bit smaller. So you don't need the layering bundle in order to do this system. The layering bundle, the pastel set, is just an option. And as you can see, a lot of our customers do like the layering bundle because it does make your photo, it does crop your photo a little bit bigger and gives you a smaller mat. So for a lot of people, they just like having a lot of different options to cut their photos at different sizes because the one in the basic bundle does give you a very wide mat. Alright, if you have both the basic bundle and the layering bundle, what's fun is you can do a lot with layering. It gives you lots of layering options. So of course your first cut should be the one done with the die that fits the measurements of the grid paper, which I have here. And then you have 1, 2, and 3 sizes for layering. So 2 sizes from the pastel set and 1 size from the basic bundle that's a layering size. So before I showed how you can cut a photograph with the biggest layering size in the pastel set for, that particular grid size, we're using the 3x3 size here. And instead of a photo, you can also have another piece of paper there. With this die from the basic bundle, I cut another piece of paper as well. Or this could be your photograph, so you have 2 layers on top of the sides that goes on the grid. But this time I used that smallest die for the 3x3 square size, and I used this one to cut my photograph, so basically the smaller layering die is a layering die for your layering die from the basic bundle, if that makes sense. So the pastel set has dies that can layer on top of the dies that fit the grid, and there's also ones that are a little bit smaller that that can fit over the layering size that comes in the basic bundle. So you get this awesome layering look, and you can play around with the different layers. Maybe if you don't want all of them, you can use 2 of the sizes or 3, 2 or 3 of the sizes. So you can have lots of fun with layering if you have these 2 bundles here. So again, the layering bundle, the pastel one's not necessary for Mosaic Moments, but it does give you lots of different options to layer on top of the sizes that fit the grid and also the layering sizes that come with the basic bundle. Alright, to complete this page, for the page pattern I'm using, I needed to cut with that same 3x3 square die that fits the grid paper 4 times. So of course I cut the rest of the squares with that die. And of course, to cut my photographs, I decided to go with the layering size from the pastel layering bundle. So this is the size that's just a little bit smaller than the die that fits the grid paper. And so I cut all my photographs with this pastel die. So another tip I have is if you have both bundles, make sure you are consistent on your layout. So if you use the pastel sized bundles, use it for all of your photographs. If you decide to go with the layering sizes from the basic bundle, be consistent and also keep using the other layering sizes from the basic bundle. So you want to make sure all your mats are the same width on your layout is mainly the goal here. And for the other part of my page, I used set A again to make the squares. So I count down to the size that's 2x2 on the grid paper. So you can see I'm going to put a line there with that die. And I have my other pieces here. So I just cut all these with some pattern paper I have. And of course, these were all cut with that same size die that fits the measurements of the grid paper, covers 2x2 squares on the grid. And so because I could use the layering size from the basic bundle also, but since I used the pastel size before, I'm going to use it again for my 2x2 size dies as well. So I did cut several photographs using the layering size contained in the layering bundle. So I'm going to cut all my photographs, or I did already cut my photographs at this little pastel layering size here. So I actually have all of my squares cut, so I'm going to go ahead and glue all of them on my layout. Alright, so I'm finishing up this layout here, and hopefully you guys have a better understanding of what the layering dies are, here's the finished squares. Here they're on this layout. As you can see, they all are consistent in that I use the same layering dies from the bundle. The middle here is not finished. That's going to be in part 2 for this video, where I'm going to talk about layering those 4x6 photographs. But anyway, just to review, just remember, if you haven't gotten the basic bundle yet, this is what you need to create Mosaic Moments pages, and the layering die bundle, the pastel one, is optional. But if you have both, you can have fun with doing multiple layers, and you have different different sizes for the items you're going to layer on top of your grid paper sizes. Alright, be sure to watch the next video.